My God, it's about that time.
Choffcast, yup, it's the Choffcast.
Shit, whoa. This is crazy. It's been so long since we've done a Choffcast. Welcome. I'm Choff. We got my guy Logski in the house today. Our very special guest. If you're new to this show, this is boundless, crazy, off-the-wall conversations. We're going to tell stories. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of life. We might even share some secrets. I don't even know where this is going to go today. Really,
I don't either.
You control the show. I mean, I'm going to be honest.
I mean, I got questions.
You already pulled up. What did you brought me a drink. I don't even know what this is. I don't drink alcohol, so I hope this isn't like...
Element, electrolytes.
Okay, Element.
It's going to keep you hydrated.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored
not
the podcast.
sponsored.
But we're open to sponsors right now. This is sponsored by Shoebox, the coolest podcast studio in Metro Detroit. If you want to do a podcast, you do it here at Move Detroit at Shoebox.
A lot of amenities here.
So many.
Don't miss out.
Sauna, cold plunge, guy
thing.
with a beard. We got it all. Thing. So what's up, Logski? Welcome.
We got a lot to get into.
Do we?
You brought the Choffcast back.
Yeah.
How long has it been? Let's start there. How long has it been since the last episode of Choffcast?
The last Choffcast was in, I believe, January of 2020.
2020.
So it's been 5 years.
Oh, COVID. No, right
just
before.
Just before COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was like that period where all the CEOs somehow knew we were about to go into pandemic, but we didn't. Yeah. Because they're like, all the companies laid everybody off. Yeah. Like shit was hitting the fan before shit even hit the fan.
The Choffcast shut down.
Yeah, I was working at a radio conglomerate. I was on 4 different radio stations at once, and doing 2 podcasts, and then
hustling.
It all just went down, just like that, like boom.
We're back.
We're back,
and we're in the shoebox. So,
yeah.
What I want to my goal with this is to kind of almost interview you in a sense.
Oh boy.
At least that's what I came into intending to do today.
All right.
So, because I mean, I know we've talked, we've been friends for, 3 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've gotten into some deep stuff already, but I think the viewers need to know what I know about you. Just like all positive, happy vibes, smiling all the time.
Yeah, until my furnace fucks up like it did today, and my whole life goes down the drain.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments, obviously, because that's life. But I think we've gotten into some deep stuff, and I think that's why we're still friends to this day.
I like your vision here. I'll let you run the show. I mean, I'll just take a back seat to this whole thing for today, at least.
So basically, what I want to know is, I guess, explain your let's go back to when you and I first kind of teamed up and kind of how our friendship started, and it started off more professional. I feel like.
So you were a personal trainer at the time, and I was DJing at the facility that you were personal training at. Now, how I even got there is kind of like mid-COVID when there was no DJ gigs. I got real hungry. And I was just DMing and emailing any company I could think of that might bring in a DJ. So this is kind of some free game for a young aspiring DJs. If you don't have any gigs, here's something you can do today to get gigs. So what I did, I got on my computer. I found all these different places, gyms, coffee shops, you name it. I basically just found a contact email for every one of them. I sent out 100 emails in a day. And one of them, actually, it was funny because they kind of tried to back me into a corner, oh, are you sure you have the experience you say you do? And I was like, yeah. And they asked me for some names of people that run these companies that I was saying that I was helping out.
I want to just point out real quick. I think the reason why, and I even had this immediate thought, you got a pretty young face, right?
That's great.
So it is, but I think at that point it was who is this? Who's this kid?
Yeah.
Who's this kid? Choff.
Yeah. So long story short, I name dropped the right people apparently, and they did their homework, and I became the resident DJ at this gym you were working at the time.
Yeah.
And
and I remember that kind of first day. I believe it was a Saturday because that's typically when we had the DJs. But I remember you being just your energy. You would come out onto the floor with me and, start jumping around. And I was like, all right, this guy's pretty cool.
Yeah,
like,
I try to insert myself into every situation when I'm doing that.
And that was something different than any of the other DJs, at least I had, coached with and stuff. Like, they would just kind of stick to themselves, which is totally fine. But like, I think that extra step, again, this is for, anyone that's looking to DJ and kind of stand out. Like, this guy would actually insert himself into the actual workout. So he would jump into, different stations. He would, we would grab each other and just start dancing around and together. And so that was cool. That's kind of what I think, that was a good first impression for me.
You could say we were catching vibes.
Vibes, yeah. So anyway, kind of fast forward, we slowly started kind of growing together there. And then I ended up taking a step away from that gym and then started my own gym and a storage unit.
Yeah, so Logski is kind of a young entrepreneurial god. So why don't you tell everyone what exactly you were doing at this period where we really broed out?
So I was in a transition from going from working at this group fitness gym to going to school. So I was going to school for physical therapy assistant. And I knew, at that time I was still doing some personal training. So I was like, how do I still integrate this and, make a lifestyle of it? Because I really had passion for it and, I enjoyed doing it. So I wanted to keep it part of my life. And so I could go into more details with it, but I came up with the idea of going to a storage unit and flipping it into a gym. And so I threw in a bunch of equipment, threw gym flooring down, and I continued training my clients out of their one-on-one as I was going to school. And so this guy, I believe that's when, because I think you had always wanted to kind of take your fitness to the next level, because I don't know how much you were doing at that time,
Yeah, at that time, I don't think I was doing anything. Okay. I had been always kind of intermittently working out through high school and college. But I never got into any like group training. So I was pretty foreign to that. So kind of jumping in while I was DJing was like the first real integration to any sort of group training I'd ever had. Yeah. And it was fun. Yeah. I loved it.
So anyway, I think because you and I had briefly talked about training together and stuff like that, but it just never worked out because my schedule was just insane.
Yeah.
But then once I got the storage unit, I think that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to dedicate this time to offer it to you. Because at that time, too, I think we had talked about maybe exchanging services, you DJing some stuff for me and that kind of thing. So, and I wanted to help you kind of
get jacked.
Get jacked, get snatched.
I'll take my shirt off at the end, so stick around for that.
And so anyway, that we found time that worked every week for us. And I think there was a couple weeks where we didn't meet, but Fridays were the day.
Yeah.
That was the Chofsky
day. We were ripping it. Became like a therapy session. I got to help you through all of your ups and downs of your love life. You got to do the same for me.
And entrepreneurship too. You had been doing it obviously way longer than I had at that point. So like I was kind of taking notes from you just about that. And honestly too, this is kind of like a little sidebar, but I've always wanted to explore the world of DJing myself. Mm-hmm. And so, that kind of inspired me too to pick your brain about that. And then I would start going to some of your gigs with you, taking notes, and fast forward, I think, we continued to grow and build this friendship. And then I think I don't even remember what happened. You might remember better than I do, but when was the first time that I actually pitched about DJing with you?
The first time you pitched DJing,
I was just kind of like, you know, hey, I like really want to do this.
Yeah, I think you asked me if you could come play on my decks one time,
Yeah,
and I was
like
like,
practice.
heck yeah, and you did, and you got it down pretty quickly on club gear, which is kind of rare.
Yeah, yeah.
And now look at you. Now Logski's got more gigs than I do. I mean,
not true.
I mean, you're every weekend, you're everywhere. You're playing all the gyms locally. You got a good thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, that's kind of where you and I kind of formed our friendship. And, you know, as I made the transition here to move to Detroit, we'd always talked about, you know, somehow collaborating together in the future and having our own space. And
yeah, it was kind of crazy too. So like, we're going about life as normal. This is probably 3.5 months ago, maybe. Yeah. And all of a sudden I get a text from Logan like, hey, I have an office for you. And I like, so random. I had like no context. I joked about it, but here's the thing. I joke about it when it's August and I'm peak DJ season and I have tons of money and everything is great. Now, when the season dies down and Logan comes to me and is like, hey, let's do this, you know, idea. First thing in my head is like, bro, like I'm literally gearing up for hibernation right now. Like, how are we ever going to do this? And then I came and toured the space. I started kind of mulling it over. It's like, well, I have always wanted to have a studio because I love, you know, collaborating and creating with other people. But something about hanging out in the same room that I hang out in my underwear in most of the time just isn't really a vibe usually.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, we could just kind of make this a studio space. And that was 3 months ago. And here we are sitting in the space now with all this equipment and this custom sign thanks to Skate Shapes and all these pieces of this puzzle came along.
Yeah.
You guys really threw a gym together fast.
I mean, it happened fast for us. And like, I think when I texted you, things were already in the works.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure we already had maybe even an offer for the lease at that point. I was like, you know, because I didn't want to like bring it up to you nonchalantly and not be serious about it.
Right.
But we'd always talked about, you know, like once I get my space, like we'll throw a DJ studio in there. And
yeah. So for people who don't know too, so Move Detroit is their gym fitness company. It's this beautiful building in Royal Oak. Come check us out sometime. And Shoebox is literally a shoebox within the building. The cool thing about it is not only are we a music and podcast studio, but we have access to obviously these guys and all their amenities. So, I mean, you can come in here, you can do your podcast, you can make music at our studio, you can book with them. So you're like working out with a personal trainer, hitting the sauna, getting the cold plunge, and making beats. There ain't nothing like this in town, baby.
One-stop shop. You don't need to go anywhere else.
And I think once I started to really wrap my head around what the concept was, I kind of bought into it more and more. At first, I was a little bit nervous. I'm like, okay, so I have to like essentially fund this out of my pocket. I'm like, this is like not sick when you think about it. Because I was very adamant. Like, I didn't want to take anything from my home. Yeah. Like, I could have very easily moved my whole home studio in here, had an empty room at home. But I wanted that like sacred space there too. Mm-hmm. So I made sure that this was going to be a custom designed space. Everything was going to be purchased for this. There were a couple little pieces of gear that I brought over, but everything pretty much has been bought and designed for this space, which was nerve wracking at first, but holy crap, it's paying off.
Well, something I'm thinking about too is like at that time, I think you had kind of told me that you were very happy with, you know, your career and like where you've taken it, but you wanted something more.
Yeah.
Right?
I think I always get that way, especially around summertime. I mean, look, I'm very happy with where I'm at. I love DJing. I love working with the best clients in the world. But I'm the type of person that like, if I'm not growing or expanding in some way, I get very restless and in my head about it. So yeah, right around the time, which kind of coincides with the end of the busy season, you know, I start getting in my head, like, what am I going to do next? You know? And usually that just means I kind of ramp up my release schedule and that sort of thing. But this was like a perfect addition to, I can, you know, build this out and this can kind of be an entity under the umbrella too.
And I think it just made sense too, because even me and my partners, we wanted something unique, right? Like there's so many gyms everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's gyms, right? And I would say they're all different in their own way, but they're all the same in their own way, you know?
Yeah.
But what gym do you go to? And you have a podcast studio, you have like a DJ booth, you have, you know, music producing studio. Like I have yet to see one.
Rare.
So, and you have sauna, cold plunge, like all this stuff. And for the model that we wanted, this just made sense. So, and I think it was a great time going back to, you know, where you were at, kind of what you had been telling me. And so nonchalantly, I'm like, I got you an office. I got you a space.
Yeah, in my head,
That's
I'm
all
like,
I said.
sweet, but
Yeah. But anyway, I think, how do you feel now though? How do you feel now that we're kind of settled in, things are together? Obviously we're still working on like little things here and there, but I would say for the most part.
Now I feel amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, full transparency, I don't think I've made $1 back on this yet, but it's already kind of paid for itself in a lot of ways, just because it's, you know, I've been able to create with people that I never would have worked with before. I've been able to get this podcast going, which has been something that's been on my bucket list for forever. I was never going to do it out of my house because I just don't like that energy. Yeah. So I'm super pumped. I love being around you guys. You guys are way nicer than me, so it's like a good vibe for me to be around you. It's been incredible, man. I'm just excited. Yeah. Like starting up this beat challenge now. So we're going to have a lot more people coming through here.
You want to talk about that?
You'll see it. It's going to be called Sprint. It's basically a 15-minute remix challenge. You remix a song in 15 minutes, and any musician can do it. I mean, a violinist could do it. A rapper can do it. A producer can do it. There's no limits as to who can do it. You just got to put your own spin on a popular song. So
yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, those are going to start rolling out. We got a couple of them recorded already, and someone's coming by to do another one today. So yeah, just kind of thinking of those projects. I think that's the biggest thing. I got to just really keep the iron in the fire and just make sure like shit's pumping every week, no matter what.
Do you feel like this space has opened up another like creative door for you?
Oh, for sure.
Creative like mindset.
Yeah. And not only that, but I think it's taken like the pressure off of the creativity for me, because it's like things just move so fast here. We have so many people in these doors every day. We like so much is always happening that like I don't really get, you know, when I'm at home by myself and I'm creating and it's just like an echo chamber. And if I make a bad beat that I spend all day on, I'm like, oh my God, I just wasted my day. Yeah. Whereas here it's just like, I don't even have time to think like that, because it's just like, we're already on to the next thing. Yep. And I think that's like super crucial for creativity, especially. You have to just kind of keep moving. And I mean, motion is the best way to progress.
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
Yeah. Just spit on the mic.
So, what are you excited for coming up? What do you got coming up this summer?
Oh man, honestly, just what I'm mostly excited about is just this place, just keeping this show on the road. I mean, you know, the DJing stuff is awesome. I got a lot of fun things on the calendar for that. That's gonna keep going, but really excited to keep releasing music. Really excited to keep collaborating with new people. Excited to just keep the iron in the fire. I've been on a transformation with Logski, so I'll take my shirt off at the very end. Yeah, you gotta wait till the end. I'm not doing it before the end. I'm not doing it.
Big reveal.
But we're already. This is going on. This is month 2, almost month three. Yeah. Of consistent 3 days a week workouts, 2 days a week active rest, plus eating double. It's been horrible. Honestly, I hate it, but I feel so good.
Wait, before we talk about that, let's talk about Tush Tunes, dude.
Yeah,
you kind of came out swinging with that this year.
Yeah, so
Tush Tunes.
It wouldn't be right to talk about it without giving a shout out to A Smith, because and to my buddy Azura. Both of those dudes are amazing producers, and so I've been making music for a long time, kind of all over the board genre wise, and I never really knew like which direction exactly I wanted to take it, right? And I was kind of like, I would do like heavy bass stuff with my buddy Harrison. I was like kind of making house music on my own and like making pop music on the side and just like doing all these different things. But then like low key, I was kind of making this like booty bounce sound too that I thought nothing of because I was kind of getting like imposter syndrome. I felt like I was kind of making ghetto tech, which is a very prominent genre already. And then I kind of like realized like, wait, but if I do it like this, yeah, it takes inspo from ghetto tech, but it's kind of like its own, I call it like suburban tech. It's like its own style. It's not ghetto tech. It's not ghetto at all.
Tush tech.
It's tush tech. It's suburban. It's for, you know, for the girlies, for the dudes to pump to. So long story short, Tush Tunes 1 came out in January. Working on Tush Tunes 2 right now. I've got a couple singles that are in line with it that one released last week. One's releasing in a few weeks. And we got something so killer lined up for Tush Tunes 2. I don't even know if we should leak it right now, but I guess we could.
You want to?
I don't really care. It's up to you.
The release party?
Yes. It's going to be more than a release party. It's going to be a Tush Tunes booty building extravaganza. And it's all going to go to that music. So I guess we could, if you want to expand on it, if you want to leave it at that, I'll throw that ball in your court.
I kind of just did this because we're going to be doing a Tush Tunes workout here at Move Detroit.
Yeah. First of its kind.
Tailored to the beats of each song of Tush Tunes and the lyrics.
Yeah.
A little bit. So we'll play around with it, but
so that's
date to come on that.
About. Yeah.
But I'm excited to do that.
Super fired up. Don't know anyone that's done that.
That's the best part about this partnership right here. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
helping each other out.
We just keep the ideas flowing. Whatever we can make happen, we do. And so that's what it's gonna be. Tush Tunes 2.
I like how they like kind of ever since you started, you know, with this Tush tech, you've always like bounced those songs and ideas off of me too, which I appreciate because like I love music. Like I listen to all kinds of music, sad music, happy music.
Yeah, mostly sad. But I will say part of the reason why I bounced them off you is because you're my biggest fan.
100%.
And it's like you're always going to say yes, even if it sucks. So I need like a little bit of a confidence booster. You're not the only person I send it to. I do have some people that tear me down too. Sure. But I know if I send it to Logski, at least I'm going to feel good about it, even if it's hot garbage. Yeah,
I still vibe to it. I think you were in my top Spotify, or at least I think Breakout was in my top Spotify.
Amazing.
Last year when it came out.
So yeah, part of how this whole thing came to be too, I kind of left this piece out, was I did this beat challenge. It was A Smith's November producer challenge, where for 30 days you make a beat every day. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. You just have to get in and just put something down. And I realized I can make these Tush Tunes tracks in like minutes, like left to right. I think I made it in like 15 minutes.
That's crazy.
And then I like took 20 to mix and master it, and it's like it's done in an hour.
Yeah.
And coming from a world where like sometimes you'll spend weeks on tracks, to be able to pump a track out in an hour and actually fuck with it is life-changing to me. So
yeah, I've
been having a lot of fun. Lots of Tush Tunes coming soon. Get those booties ready.
Get them ready. So let's talk about the CHOFF formation.
Oh yeah, the CHOFF. Oh, I kind of forgot we were doing that. Yeah. So
should we end on that one? What do you think?
Yeah, we can. And then you're running the show, so
I'm running the show. Okay. All right.
So
let's talk about it though. So we got in here shortly after Christmas, and then I would say probably that following week is when you and I really started. We were like, all right, we got equipment set up. When are we starting this thing? We need to be consistent. Because again, like we were doing Fridays, but you'd be out of town some weekends. You'd be at gigs. Like I think we were inconsistent towards the end of the year as far as our Fridays went.
Always.
So I kind of just like, all right, we got to figure this out. Like we are in the same space now, so there's no excuses, right? So I wanted to curate a plan for you to basically be consistent with 3 days a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
We knew we did some calculating your nutrition. We need to double the calories, you know, especially for your body type. And I mean, my body type as well. Like, you know, for the goals that we want, we needed to get more calories. So that was the biggest thing I told you. Getting 3 days a week of strength training. And then I know you do like, you know, some other things on your active rest days. So basically, I think we've kept everything very consistent. You've been progressing your weights. I mean, just this morning, I think we PR'd on bench.
I don't even know what that means.
Personal record.
Personal record, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put up 45s, baby.
135 for two. And we were back at the lab. I think you were hitting maybe 95.
Maybe on a good day, yeah.
A good day.
It's great. That's the one thing I will say with the transformation is it's crazy how fast things turned around. Like my transformation picks from week 1 to week 3 were life changing.
Yeah.
I looked like a different human.
It is kind of crazy, yeah. And I think on that too, again, with the increased calories, you're putting size on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of what the goal had been. And so I think we're starting to see it.
It's crazy. The human instinct is like fight or flight, right? When you get like scared or nervous or something's bad. And like for the first time in my life, I actually like almost leaned on fight. Like someone jumped out at me the other day and I was like ready to square up. Whereas normally I'd be like, so that's a plus in general.
Yeah.
So come see Logski to get your confidence up,
There
baby.
we go. I like it. So
I'm not going to take my shirt off on every CHOFF cast, so you don't need to block this channel right now, but
let's see it. The big reveal.
Hold up. Let me switch these cameras here.
We'll
There's
have
Logski. There's me here. You ready?
We'll have to link the before picture.
Yeah.
Somehow. Look at that. Your chest is so much more defined.
Yeah.
He's got like a 12 pack now. Let's see. Give me a bicep. That's
the beach is that way.
All right. There it is.
All right.
CHOFFormation going on month 3.
CHOFFormation going on month 3.
Dude, can you imagine 3 more months from now?
Dude, I'm actually gonna be like seeking out pools this pool season. Normally I hide or I'll like wear a shirt when I go swimming. And
really?
I mean, not really, but kind of.
Do you feel like you're actually becoming more confident too with your body?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could I not? Look at me.
I know.
Do I keep
That's
this
awesome,
off?
though.
Do I keep this off
Might
for
as
the
well.
outro?
Why would you put it on?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
sick.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a good note to end on, at least for episode 1.
Logski, to have you as the first guest
I'm
back
honored.
on the CHOFFcast is a freaking honor.
I'm honored.
I want to get you back on and have you actually talk about you because we mostly just had you talk about me.
Oh, yeah. It's the CHOFFcast, not the Logan cast.
But you're a resident here. This is your home.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Feel free to jump
I'm
in
honored because I think it's good. This is a good opportunity that you and I haven't really had yet to like sit down and reflect on this from the beginning to where we're at now. And just, in my head, I've always pictured having you integrated somehow into, my space. So
Did you picture me shirtless when you did it?
no, honestly, I didn't. I can't say I did.
Beach is that way, bro.
And honestly, like I'm shocked with your progress, I would say. And not just your progress, but your consistency. Because it's super easy to, again, here you have no excuses, but it's super easy to kind of fall into that habit of, oh, you're good for 3 weeks and then you miss a week, and I know you were sick, so you felt like you were apologizing to me.
I felt so bad though. I had to miss 1 day of working out. I was like, oh my God, kill me. I actually like it now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's an addiction.
Been putting in work like ASAP Ferg, baby.
Yep. So
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Logski, thanks for coming. Everyone listening, appreciate you. CHOFFcast is back.
Come
like,
check out
subscribe, and follow your dream.
CHOFFcast, y'all, it's the CHOFFcast, CHOFFcast,